Hello everybody, it's Jim the Gentleman Crafter, and today I wanted to share a project that I've been working on and been selling kits in my store. It's called the Luminary House. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of how to build it real quick. Did I say that twice already? Anyway, this has been my third attempt to try to record this. I'm just not having one of those good video days, so I apologize. So this is the house. This is the front of the house, the side of the house, and the other side of the house. You can hear the tea light rattling around inside. And I pull off the top, and I've got my base. My tea light sits right on here. Okay. It's got a stop here, so it won't move around when it's on something flat. It won't move back and forth. It just kind of stays there. Hi, Sophie. And so I just wanted to do this to show you how to put it together real quick. So this time I think I've got all my pieces. And last time I didn't have my roofs cut, and so I had to cut my roofs real quick. So I think I've got everything. But on your instruction sheet, you've got the templates for all the pieces, okay? Every piece is different. Even the two main pieces are different because this has got a rectangle, this has got a window, okay? But they're exactly the same piece, it's just one has a rectangle, one has a window, okay? Other pieces, the door piece, the side door piece. Okay, the only thing that could be really confusing is you've got two pieces that look very similar. You've got F and G, okay? And then F, just to make sure you've got your base piece. And what I've done is I've engraved on here where this piece goes, okay? And so if you'll just see, you know, that fits because it fits around in that engraving. This piece doesn't. This is too big. It doesn't fit in there. So this is going to be the F piece. F piece goes with the base. So I'm taking my base and my F piece and I'm putting it away. Okay, I've got my G piece, which is my back wall. Okay, and then I've got some little pieces too, some little sidewall pieces that look kind of confusing because they're about the same size, but one's longer than the other. Okay, one is longer than the other, and you'll have to excuse my dirty hands. I've been working with glue and dark stuff. So I've got my two side walls. And so I'm going to run you through it real quick and put this together. I'm using glossy accents. Again, it's raining outside. And so sometimes the weather does funky things when you're trying to use glossy accents. And so we'll see. I think it's going to hold. It holds really well anyway, but just in case. So anyway, on the house, if you look at the house itself, okay, the window's on the left, the door or this extension is on the right, okay? So the window piece would be this piece because it's got the window. So I'm going to start with my window piece. I'm going to start with my front door, okay? My front door, again, you've got a window here, window, and then I've got this opening, okay, where this piece attaches to. So I'm going to start with my window on the left, my window on the left. Okay, so window on the outside, window on the left. Okay, so I'm going to grab my glossy accents and I'm going to put on my glasses and I'm going to put a bead of glue down this little edge of the front piece. Okay, and I'm sticking it. It doesn't matter which way you go. This window is completely centered, so it doesn't matter which side you use. I'm going to put it down and flush. I need to get some of this glass glitter out of the way because that's going to make a difference in how it glues because of the level. So I'm putting this down on top of and flush with the left side. Okay, I'm just trying to see if that's flush. It looks pretty flush. Okay, and then I'm going to hold on to it. And the more points you give it, pressure points you give glossy accents, the better it's going to stick. So if you just put it here, it sticks, but it's not going to stick as well as you gave it pressure pretty much from all over the top edge or the edge. So I'm going to let that set for a second. Okay, it doesn't take too long. It's not completely dry and set, but it's enough for me to work on it. So I'm going to take my G piece, which is the wider piece, wider rectangle, solid. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of glue down that long, or that short edge right here. I'm going to go to the opposite edge, and I'm going to put it on top of and flush with the edge. Okay, again, I'm going to hold it down. Let it set for a second. Okay, then I've got my wings. my two end pieces. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add glue to each end. And then I'm going to take my right hand piece and I'm going to place it on top of. Somebody from Palm Springs, California. Sorry, y'all. I'm determined to get this done. So I'm lining that up, flush with each side, and then I'm going to clamp it down with both my hands so it gets a good adhesion going. Just kind of running that up and down so it sticks really good. So I think glossy accents and chipboard, it's almost like super glue. You know, it holds pretty quick, especially when it's dry outside. Okay, so that's kind of on. Okay, and so now I'm going to go for my extensions. So it doesn't matter whether you start over here or you start over here. I am going to start with my front door piece. My front door piece uses the long L's. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue down here. And again, it doesn't matter whether what side you're using because it's completely centered on each side. So I'm putting it on top of, just like we did with the front, putting it on top of and flush with the edge. So it's down here, it's flush with the bottom, and up here it's right where that cuts into that angle. Okay, so it's right there. So again, I'm going to add a little pressure. Let that sit for a second. I'm going to move to the other side, the opposite side, put a little bit of glue. And do the exact same thing. On top of, flush with the edge, flush with the bottom, right up to that point. And then I'm going to hold it in place. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let that dry for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and do the small piece exact same way. This is the left extension of the house. Put a bead of glue down the long edge. And then on top of and flush with the side. It just meets that angle. Again, I apologize for my hands being so dirty. But it is what it is, isn't it? So I'm going to take my other little piece, and these would be M's from the instruction sheet. And this goes down and on top of, flush with the side, just like the other side. Okay, I'll just wipe some of that glue off. Okay, we'll let that dry for a second. So I'm going to go back to the front door piece. This is my front. Remember, this is what we're working on right here. I've got my window here. This is where I want my front door piece to go on this opening here. This opening allows the light from the battery-operated tea light to come through. So that's why it's a rectangle. So I'm adding glue to each of the wings. And then I'm just going to try to set it on here centered-ish. Doesn't really matter, just as long as you think it is. And then I'm going to bring it up, set it down flat with the sides, and glue that in place. And I'll show you in a second when it's this, once this gets set. So there's the front extension. Wipe a little of that glue off that side. Okay, now I'm going to go for the side extension. And I am going to put some glue down these little edges. And again, I'm just going to stick it to it. I'm going to try to figure out where the center is. I've got a little wiggle room because the glue isn't going to dry too quick. And then I'm going to put it on there and kind of push it in. Not too hard. You'll collapse everything because nothing has had time to set. You could take time, you could go have a cup of coffee and come back and start working on the different sections to let them set if you wanted to. I like to go quick, and that's why I like glossy. And so there's that. So that's our side extension. Okay, there's our front. Okay, so now that I've got my roofs with me, finally, I'm going to add my roof. So this is the roof piece. This is the large roof piece, and it's engraved in the center, so that it's really scored. So I'm going to bend that. Okay, not too hard, but it's going to hold. So I'm going to get that ready, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some glue down these top roof pieces. The two tallest ones. Okay, set that back down. I'm going to try to guesstimate where this should go. I just want it centered. Okay, so I'm going to put it down. See if I can get it centered on each side. So each side has a little bit of an overhang. You can kind of see that. I'm going to go ahead and, again, add pressure. So that was my large roof piece. Okay, now I'm going to go for my other roof pieces. I'm going to start with the front roof piece. Okay, this is angled. It is scored in half. And so I'm going to bend it slightly. Not too hard, because you'll cut it apart and then have to glue each piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue the left side of that small front roof piece, our front door piece. Okay. And then I'm going to glue the back angled side. Not the front. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. So I'm not gluing this side, this straight side, I'm gluing the angled side. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of bend it into place and stick it on and kind of bring it back all the way and find out where it wants to fit. And it wants to fit right there over that angle and up against the house. Let me get this on here and I'll show you. Like that. Okay, so that's on. And then I'm going to take my remaining last roof piece. Again, it's scored down the middle. And I'm going to add a bead of glue to just the front this time. If you want to add glue to the back of the roof piece, you can. But I am going to just put it on the front. Okay, I'm going to bend my roof piece in place. I'm going to push it up against the house side, and down and onto that top roof piece, top extension. Let it set for a second until the glue sets a second. Like that. Okay, so there's my front extension, my side extension, my side, my back. Okay, my roof was just kind of centered in there. So now I'm going to go for windows. I'm going to be gentle because once again, the glue hasn't set completely. I'm using some just white glue in a fine tip bottle because, for one, I'm not the best gluer in the whole wide world. My hands are too shaky. And I'm just going to take this and put this around the edge with white glue. I just want to show you in a second the difference between the window and the door, because there's a difference. So I'm just going to kind of line that up and set it down. Let it glue kind of straighten it down a little bit. It just fits right over that window. It's got just enough to hang on to those sides. Okay, I was going to show you the door. The difference between the door and the window. The door has got that little cross piece up there. You can see the difference, and it's a little bit taller, so you know that's the door. And that would go here. This would be a little too short. No, actually it fits, but it's just kind of wonky. So this would fit completely over it. So I'm going to take this, my glue, take my white glue again. Of course, I could have used glossy accents, but I don't have a fine tip bottle, and this works just fine. This is just white PPA glue. Okay, and I'm going to put that over my door. Oops. Me and shaky hands, I tell you. So I've got that over there, and before it dries too much, and just push that down to the bottom, make it level. Okay. I'm going to take my porthole window, if that's what we want to call it, just this round window, put a little bit of glue around that. And this just makes it so much easier, this fine tip fine line. I'm going to see if I can put that in there. Move it into place before it dries. And I want my cross to be pretty much straight on. There we go. That's a little off. That's okay. Okay, so I'm moving around to the other side to put my other windows on. So this is the back side. I mean the side with the extension. So I'm going to glue again around the border of the window. Put that into place. Okay, it just covers that opening, but enough where it won't, it's not too short where you can see in through the side of the light. It's going to cover that whole thing. So other window. Now I'll get on to the chimney real quick. So again, a bead of glue around the edges of the window. And then I'm going to stick this into place, or adhere it into place. Like that. So I've got my side, my front, and the other side. Sorry, I just lost my picture. Okay, so that's all done. Okay, so now I'm going to start on my chimney. And for the chimney, you just need a little piece of cardstock. And I'm just using what matches the paper. This kind of matches. Anyway, this is some craft card. It's a little bit heavier. And so any cardstock will do, especially if you're going to do some mixed media stuff or if you're going to just cover it with paper. So I've cut this down to 1/2 inch. So I've got a 1/2 inch strip. And then I need to cut this to 1 1/8. I need 2 pieces. So I've got 1 1/8 by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to do another one that's 1 1/8 by 1/2 inch. Okay. Move that out of the way. I'm going to grab my glossy. And I'm going to lay this piece. I'm going to try to lay the pieces on their side on top of this paper. And I'll show you the reason why we're using cardstock instead of chipboard is because it really makes it flatter on the roof. So I'm just going to kind of see if I can eyeball that. And then stick it down. Okay, I'm going for the other side. Other chimney piece, I'm going to put that down. Some glue. I'm going to put it down on the opposite edge and at the top. As best as I can. The best as I can. The best I can. See if I can use my good scissors to help me out. And it's not. Let's be out to the edge a little bit more. There we go. You can make this paper as wide as you want. In fact, if you look here, this is about 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. I made it square. This one's going to be a little bit thinner, and that's okay. Whatever you want it to be. Still makes a good looking chimney. So I'm putting a bead of glue down both of those. And I'm sure you could use the PPA for that too. I just know that I want it to be faster. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Kind of line it up. Okay. Kind of add a little pressure again. Okay. Got my chimney. So I'm going to add this glossy into this V. I'm going to clean off my nose with my glue. There we go. Into the V. Up and down. Like that. Okay. So I've got that. Then it doesn't matter where you want to put it. I'm just going to put mine kind of centered. So I'm going to say that's where I want it. Okay. Okay. Let me show you again. This is what I was talking about with the chipboard. If you use chipboard, you'd have a big old hunk of chipboard kind of sticking out over the side. Okay. If you use paper stock, it pretty much goes into a streamline with the roof. So it's a little bit thinner piece, so it makes it a little bit better. I think it makes it a little bit good looking, more good looking. So my house is built. Okay, now I'm going to go for my base, which is totally easy. Just going to take a little either score tape or glossy, just a little dab will do it. that was more than a dab. I'm going to line it up with my engraved square, my engraved rectangle, stick it down. Okay, so that's together. That's my base. And then I'm going to stick my house on it just to see if it fits. And it does. It doesn't move around. You know what I mean? So I've got my base and my house together in what? 19 minutes? 19 minutes? Okay. Just going to show you some stuff on this one. I'll just give you a hint or a tip. If you want to cover this with paper, like this is covered with paper, you could sit there and try to fussy cut all this stuff out, right? Or you could use the template because the template matches the pieces exactly. So if you're going to do this in paper, it would be my suggestion to go ahead and cut these out with the paper on it. So cut out the pattern paper, glue it to the piece before the piece is put together. And that way it's easier to do. I mean, everything's easier to do. So that's the way this was done. I just put all the paper on top of my pieces, put it all together. Okay. Does it make any difference about measurements or anything? It all fit together fine. Also on for decorating it, I used some Golden's modeling paste, okay, and a palette knife, and just placed, blotted, whatever you want to say, the modeling paste at the top, on the chimney, on the roof lines, down where the snow would hit and stay in those grooves of that house, right? Up again here, a little bit on the top of the windows, okay? If you take the modeling paste and the palette knife and you pull the palette knife, let's just say this is the palette knife, and I'm doing this, I can pull away from it and cause this to happen to make these little tiny icicles. I don't know if that's going to come through, but that little tiny icicle right there, you know what I mean? And then once it was dry, I added again some white glue all over the modeling paste. I used chunky glass glitter and covered the rest of it. Okay, for the base, I did the exact same thing. Just slathered, if that's such a word, slathered, I think so. I glued my trees on. I slathered the modeling paste up against it, kind of placed the modeling paste up against it, and kind of put some around. Again, adding white glue, and then glitter, glass glitter. And then I added my little battery-operated tea light. Okay, I put my top on, and my house is done. And it's very cool at night. I mean, I've got too much light on here. Let me see if I can turn this off. Does it make a difference? Can you see the little light? It really is really pretty. It comes out all the windows. So that is the Luminary House. And I appreciate y'all so much for giving me the time to show you how to put it together. I hope that helps. Thanks so much.